तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the 20th session of the second chapter. In fact, initially, when we were designing this deep learning, I was expecting that we would cover the second chapter in 21 lessons. But what happened is when we changed the mode from in-person to Zoom or online, we could cover only 3 verses, whereas we used to cover 4 verses in the class. So that pace affected us a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I think a good thing is that we were able to cover this much. And after today, we have 18 more verses left in the second chapter, which is the final topic, which we can cover in next 6 sessions. So having said that, we are getting to the final portion of the next topic covered in the second chapter. So if you really think about what is being covered in the second chapter and the topics, as I explained earlier, the second chapter can be considered as an index. So the second chapter touches almost all the topic covered in the Bhagavad Gita. So the first topic, it was again a restatement of the problem. Whatever problem we have given, that problem is restated. And the problem is we are subjected to sorrow. What creates us sufferings and sorrows is a variable from time to time. Please keep this in mind. What disturbs us or what creates suffering in us, it is a variable from time to time. But that something is going to create us a problem is a constant. We analyzed this topic in depth when we went through that first portion. As a child, like a balloon would have been good enough, and the global corona may not have been an issue. But when we grow further, what exactly that creates disturbance in us varies. But constantly, we are subjected to worry, anxiety, pain, and everything. And why this is happening, that is the topic of the second portion of the Gita, which is from verse 11 to 37. It is the solution for the fundamental human. What exactly is the solution? That is what is being discussed in the second topic. First topic again is the problem statement, and second topic is what is the solution. So what is the solution? We found that it is the knowledge about yourself. And the solution is you cannot also avoid in doing what needs to be done. So this topic is discussed in 3 different levels. And the first level is a spiritual perspective, right? And what needs to be done. And then from a dharmic perspective, which is from verse 31 to 33, it is discussed. Remember, we talked about the Swadharma. That was the famous discussion we had. Means it's not famous discussion, but it is a very famous quotes we use from Maharaja Guru. And from 34 to 36, the same problem is addressed through the Laukika angle, meaning the worldly point of view. So these 3 angles we saw what needs to be done. You have to know yourself. You have to do what needs to be done. This is the solution. But the problem is how this needs to be implemented. What exactly that is preventing me from knowing myself? And also how should I go towards that? And that topic is introduced as something called yoga. And whereas the what part is known as Samkhya. Samkhya is the knowledge and yoga is the how-to part. So we saw means two definitions of yoga so far. And also we saw what is yoga, karma yoga in depth, a brilliant elaboration of karma yoga, which is the chapter 2, verse 47. It defines, it gives, it elaborates and it unfolds karma yoga. Karmani evaha adhikaraha te. The choice or control given to you is only on the action and not the fruits or not the results. And then what happened? Ma phaleshu kadajana, not on the results. Ma karma phala hedurbuhu. You are not the author of the results. You are only the author of the action. So therefore, focus your effort where you have control. This is the essence of karma yoga. And work without worry and anxiety. And how can you do this? You can do this by dedicating all the actions to Ishvara. And also when you get the results, means your attitude is, it is a prasadam from the Ishvara. So this is the essence of karma yoga. We are going to elaborate this in detail in the third chapter, all the details. But the second chapter, the topic is touched. And having then actually following that, we saw two brilliant definitions of yoga. Verse 48, we saw the definition of yoga as samatvam yoga uchyate, the equanimity of the mind, a mind that is stable, a mind that is under your control. That is known as yoga. So he said, establish yourself in yoga and perform what needs to be done. Leave the attachment, leave the obsession for a particular result, and then work. And this is called yoga. And verse 50, we saw the second definition of yoga as the discretion and skill. Means he says yoga is the skill in action. Actually, yoga karmasu kaushalam. This means skillful action is called yoga. And we saw what exactly is that skill. The first portion of that skill was be done when a set of possibilities are presented in front of me, when I have a choice of doing, not doing, or doing differently, what exactly is the actions I would pick? What should be my priority of action? So that is point number one. So discretion in action. And second thing is efficiency in action. How can I do that the best possible manner? So this is yoga karmasu kaushalam. So these two famous definitions we saw, and we are going to continue that topic further. And today we are going to cover up to verse 53. So from 38 to verse 53, Krishna talks about yoga and its benefit, and he's trying to conclude this discussion. So that is what is going to cover the third portion, the third topic of the second chapter. And from there, Arjuna is going to ask a question, and from where it is going. Any question? Okay, very good. So if that is the case, let's go to verse 52. What is means? How do you gain this yoga? So, and would you mind chanting this?
Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatitarishhyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotapyasya shrutasya cha.
This is again beautiful, elaborating on the topic of yoga. So Krishna tells, yada, yada means when. It is universal pronoun. When, te, your. Buddhi means intellect or mind. When your mind and intellect, buddhir vyatitarishyati, like when the mind and intellect cross over, what? Moha kalilam, all the impurities of delusion of your mind. Because remember, we need to understand what is the goal of karma yoga or the yoga. The yoga means in general, karma yoga in particular, the goal of karma yoga is to purify your mind. We talked about this, right? So imagine there is a bucket, there is a water, and you wanted to see the reflection of the sun properly in that bucket of water. So the prerequisites for seeing that is, first thing is the water has to be pure. And the second thing is the water has to be stable. So the purpose of the yoga is to make our mind, means here the mind is the water. So how do I purify my mind? And how do I stabilize my mind? We talked, this is the goal of the yoga. So yoga means it is a process to purify my mind. So when your mind cross over, or when your mind gets over the impurities of the mind, what happens then? So then, with edate moha kalilam bhuttur vetiratishati, then he tells tada gandhasi nruvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya ja. So then Krishna tells you will gain what? Tada gandhasi, you will gain a dispassion. A dispassion means it is the emotional maturity. You could say that. When your mind cross over this mental impurities, because when you practice karma yoga, the benefit is mala nivritti. So typically our mind is polluted by sixfold enemies. According to a Vedantic model, each one of our mind is polluted with sixfold enemies: kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, and malsalya. It is essentially the created through my past actions, through my wrongdoing, or through my karma. My mind is polluted by these impurities. And when you practice karma yoga, what is going to happen? Slowly, my mind will get over this impurity. And then what happens? Tada gandhasi nirvedam, you will develop an emotional maturity towards what has been heard and what is yet to be heard. It's a brilliant usage, poetry. This is spiritual poetry. You have to think that. So what it means, I will develop an emotional maturity regarding what I have heard. So whatever I have experienced or whatever that is known to me and what is yet to be heard. In other words, Krishna is saying that anything in the universe is not going to create an emotional obsession for me. Anything is not in the world is not going to create a problem for me, anxiety, worry. I will have a stable mind. So when you practice karma yoga, this is the biggest benefit of karma yoga. So the greatest benefit of karma yoga is when you practice karma yoga, it will eventually purify all the mind, and you will develop an emotional maturity or dispassion towards everything in the universe. That doesn't mean that you will leave this in the universe, but you will have that emotional maturity. That emotional maturity means, yes, I have a work-related problem. It is a problem to be addressed, but it is not going to make myself out of control. Yes, I have a problem in the family. It needs to be dealt with, but it is not going to make me emotionally depressed, right? This is the difference. And I'm okay. I may have a problem with my health. It is a problem that needs to be addressed with, but it is not going to take myself completely away in my mind. So this is the greatest benefit of karma yoga. It is going to provide you with a very stable and controlled mental state with which you can address the problem. If you really look at Arjuna's problem, what happened? The problem was when he was facing a challenge, he saw all these relatives, and as a result, what happened? That challenge had disturbed his emotional stability or the mental stability. And with that unstable mind, he cannot do anything. So the problems are going to be there tomorrow. The challenges are going to be tomorrow. And there are issues which needs our attention. But Karma Yoga is not going to solve all those things. But Karma Yoga is going to make you face all these problems with a stable and controlled mind. So this verse, from that perspective, it is very important. Yada te moha kalelam buddhir vyatitarishati. The practice of karma yoga is going to help you to cross over to all these emotional impurities or the mental impurities. And then what is going to happen? Tada gantasi nruvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. It's a poetic expression. You means anything that you heard or anything that is yet to be heard. Of course, look at our life. So far, we have faced a lot of challenges, and we faced it bravely, and we are here after facing all these problems. And it is for sure that the problem that yet in front of us will be much tougher than the problem we had already faced. That's for sure, because means the age is going, so health issues is going to come, means all these issues are going to pop up. So that is what is the problems you have not yet heard, but definitely it is there in your path, and you need to face all that. And for the karma yoga, the biggest benefit is it is going to give you the maturity to face all this. Look at the words. It is so good. It is so good. Like in positive psychology, I would refer a book now, as always. I think I already referred this book. It is called Authentic Happiness. And Rajesh, I think it is there in our library, right? Authentic Happiness by Seligman.
Yes,
So
it is.
yeah, it is there in our library also. So you can take that book and read it. So Authentic Happiness by Dr. Seligman tells the shift in psychology, means the psychology that was prevalent 50 years back, like the behavioral psychology or the cognitive psychology. The cognitive psychology and the behavioral psychology means it used to address problem, but it is never used to make you face the next. It means the best case was it will take you to zero, right? A problem means you are gone down, and the role of the psychology was to bring you back to zero level, but it never elevated you from 0 to say 10. And you need a different skill set, and that different skill set can be developed only by developing that emotional maturity. And Seligman talks a lot about this particular idea in that book. And this is what is called the positive psychology. It is the latest branch of psychology, which is going to say that you need skills not to avoid problem just, but you need skill, but to improve your happiness, right? That's the difference. What was the typical mindset? Even as the Indian, means people of Indian origin, I think that as a generation, our problem is, let's say that you had 10 tasks in your hand, and you were extremely successful in the first 9 tasks, and one of the tasks you screwed up. What exactly is going to stay in your mind?
The one which you messed up.
Exactly. So that's the difference. You have to say that one you can easily handle. And they call it as the weather syndrome, right? So if there is, let's say that today it is raining, and we always think that the entire thing, it means the coming days is going to be rain. And you just focus on one problem and you never think positively. And this is the mindset that needs to be changed. We have to have a change in our mindset to shift from this problems and then move on to the next level. So this is what is the Karma Yoga's biggest benefit. And this is a skill that everybody needs to have. And why Krishna is giving us this skill? Because if you want to pursue the highest goal of life, which is the knowledge about yourself, this is a prerequisite. But why the corporates are going to enforce this? Because they want you to improve their bottom line. And you can improve your bottom line only when you have a strong, powerful mind in your hand. This is the difference. Both are required, right? You need to have success in the professional life as well as the spiritual life. And that is the philosophy of the Gita, or that is a vision of the Gita. I would not say philosophy. Gita is not a philosophy. By the way, what is the literal meaning of philosophy? I used that wrong word to indicate Gita. Anybody?
The quest for knowledge.
That's it. Philosophia. It's a Greek word. It's the cause. It is your desire for knowledge. So they seek knowledge for gaining that knowledge. For example, somebody wanted to say that he is a PhD in physics. So what exactly is his goal? To gain that PhD. So you can claim to learn Gita, but that problem of my problem is still problem. That's why you don't see that particular word in our scriptures. And we use something called darshana. It's a vision. It is going to give you a new vision, and with that vision, I can go and face the challenge. So this is very important, this verse. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyati tada gandasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. So moha kalilam, it is this mind's problem. And what happened? When the mind is impure, it is going to impact your understanding of yourself. It is going to impact your priority, because if you think that you are a cat, what would be your requirement? The requirement of a cat, correct? Imagine that you have a wrong identity. Your requirements also will be driven from that wrong identity. Your priorities will be set by that wrong identity. And then you will suffer. So this is what is problem. And this will create strong obsession and strong aversion towards everything in the universe. And with that, you cannot express your full potential. You know what the scriptures call such a person? Kripanaha. Kripanaha means the miser. What is the characteristics of a typical miser? He has enough money to live a better life. But what he do? Keep the money in the pocket and live a third-rate life, right? So that's exactly what we do. We do have the potential to solve all these things, but we just keep it with ourselves. That's why the Upanishad calls such person as a miser. And this is the first step in our spiritual process. And once again, we need to be very clear what is the roadmap provided by the Gita. Gita addresses the human problem in 2 steps. The first step is a stable and a pure mind. It is a prerequisite to pursue any goals of life. And that is what is going to make you efficient in action. And that is what is going to make you a stable mindset. And with that, when you pursue this knowledge, so the path of yoga is going to make you a pure and stable mind. To be specific, there are 2 things it is being addressed. One is the stability and the other one is the maturity. And on a high level, we call everything as yoga. And if you go to 1 level down, we have this karma yoga, which is going to give you the purity. And you have this upasana yoga, which is going to give you the stability. So these 2 put together is going to give me a stable and a pure mind. And once I have the stable and a pure mind, what is going to happen? I can pursue the knowledge. It is going to give me the necessary adhikaratvam. Sorry, let me connect my laptop. Adhikaratvam. And once I have that adhikaratvam, what is going to happen? Yep, the adhikaratvam is going to give me the necessary it means prerequisites to gain the knowledge. So this is the famous verse. Again, we are getting into the conclusion. Why yoga? That is what is being addressed. So let's go to the final verse of this particular topic. Here we are going to see the 3rd definition of yoga. So the 2nd chapter is going to give 3 definitions for yoga. We saw the first definition on verse 48 as samatvam yoga uchyate. Second definition was given on the verse 50, which is means yoga karma sukhaushalam. And the 3rd definition of yoga is yogaha samadhi. That is the definition. So let's see. Anu, would you chant?
Shruti vipratipanna te yada sthāsyati niṣchala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi.
Samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi. When the mind is firmly established in samadhi, yoga happened. So yoga is a state. It is defined as when the mind is stable in samadhi. That is what is called yoga. So let's see what exactly Krishna means. So he tells, Shruti vipratipannati yada sthyasyasi nischalaha. So Shruti means when, yada, again when, te, your, buddhi, mind or intellect, right? When your mind or intellect, sthyasyasi is no longer or stabilized, no longer distracted by Shruti vipratipannati, whatever you heard from the scriptures. Okay, so I want to introduce a term called material spiritualism. Lot of people, right? Most of the devotees, what is their goal with their spiritual practices?
A happier life, a happier material life.
Correct. So why means think about this. Why do they follow the material world? Why are they going to work, try to earn more bonuses? Why are they trying to get promoted? Why are they doing to do all these things? Why are they doing some part-time businesses? Everything. Why?
For a comfortable life.
Yeah, it's for a better life. There is nothing wrong in that. Correct? So you want better money, you want a better lifestyle, you wanted to send your kids to the best college, all that is the goal. That is fine. This is the material goal. And a lot of people, they say that they are spiritual. What exactly is their goal? If you go to the temple and listen to the prayer, what do you hear? Oh Lord, send my child to this school. Correct? Or get me promoted. Correct? Or keep my job stable. There is nothing wrong in that. And just mind you, right? There's nothing wrong in that. So material spiritualism, that's what it is. 95% of the people take the scripture or invoke God for that purpose. But what Krishna is saying is that once you practice the karma yoga or yoga, what is you're going to gain is you gain a dispassion. It is not that you are going to renounce all that, but you gain some emotional maturity to understand that whatever you are gaining or losing is not what is going to determine your state of happiness. This is very clear. Means last week I talked about the 3 levels of happiness. If you want, just read that book, Authentic Happiness, which is going to tell you what exactly is the definition of happiness. So typically we think that these by gaining XYZ, you will be happy. But practically, if that is the case, as I always quote, when you're studying in India as a college student, what was your aspiration? If you could think about what you achieved now, wouldn't that be the complete definition of the happiness at that point of time? I still remember Kailashji's famous example in the class. That was fantastic. He was telling me that when he was in the college, his desire was, I don't know whether Kailashji is there. Like his definition was like 1,000 rupees, means 4-digit salary, a moped and a job in Wipro, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That would have been made him completely happy and contented. And now we have 1,000 times more than that. But I feel we were more happier at that point of time. So that is what it is. Don't connect the state of happiness with the material success and gain. So Krishna tells, when you practice this karma yoga, your obsession about this success and failure, or the way you look at success and failure is going to slightly change. Still, you will be an overachiever, right? So you will change from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. That is the direct application of karma yoga. You will be more efficient, you will be earning more, you will be achieving more, but you won't be obsessed with anything. So Krishna tells Shruti Vipratipannate. So whatever you heard from scriptures, even spiritually, right? The scripture means, why do people do puja? Why do people do yajna? So that is what is Krishna is saying. Even the spiritually prescribed, even the Vedas prescribed, means the higher benefit of life, means you will be moving away from those type of perplexed goals, because even the scriptures can direct you to wrong places. Because a lot of people, why do they practice religion? Why? Because they want to secure a permanent residence in the heaven. What means, if you ask them why are they going to heaven? For pleasure, right? What is the definition of heaven? It is a place which gives unlimited pleasures, even sensual pleasures. So this is the problem. So when you get out, because remember, Krishna called such people in the 40, 41, 42, 43 verses. You remember? Yamimam pushpitam vacham prapatanti vipaschitaha veda vadarada partha na anyat arthi iti vadinaha. He tells, what is that? Pushpitam vacham, flowery words of the unwise. He is calling Veda, the Karma Kanda of the Veda. He is calling like that. He is saying that those who just go after the ritualistic portion of the Veda, what is their goal? Bhoga and Aishwarya. There is nothing spiritual in it. And I think Swami Chinmayananda, he coined the word. It is a material spiritualism. So this is what happens. So when you are not perplexed with these, the results promised by the Vedas, the karma kandas of the Veda, what happened? Yadasthasyasi nischalaha. Your mind will be steady because you're not obsessed with the gain and loss, or I need this or I need that. Yes, you may get it, but that is going to change your emotional stability. And your mind will be firmly established in samadhi. Like what is the definition of samadhi? Thi means mind or intellect. Sama means equanimity. So the mind and intellect will be in a very stable, firm state. And this is the goal of yoga. The Yoga Sutra first verse, Patanjali's commentary, Vyasa, the commentator tells Yogaha Samadhi. That's exactly what Krishna is talking here. When the mind get that not perplexed with emotional maturity, eventually it will get into a stable state. So just to give you a little bit background, right? So in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we hear there are 5 different stable, the mental state. They call it as chitta bhumis. 5 different states are there for the human mind. One mind is called chitta. So meaning an extremely destructive state. Like you are completely emotionally off. The second one is called a deluded state, mudha. And the third one is called a distracted state, which is called vikshipta, visheshena chipta. And then ekagra, like when you watch a movie or when you means completely focused, what is going to happen? You're enjoying a state. And finally, something called nirodha. Nirodha means it is a controlled state. So this karma yoga will eventually put your mind into the samadhi state, which is the definition of the samadhi. Simple translation is it's a well-placed mental state. This word is coined by Swami Vivekananda in his Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It's brilliantly, he said, samadhi is a goal of karma yoga is to give you that samadhi. Samadhi is not a self-realization we are talking. We are saying is that like it means you will be having that stable mental state. And then what you can say, samatha vachala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. Like then yoga has happened. So that is what the next verse. So shruti vipratipannate yathasthasyasi nischalaha samatha vachala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. Again, the popular definition of yoga is coming here. It is samatha vachala buddhi. Achala buddhi, when the mind is stable, like it is not that I get the stability when I am meditating. It is not that when I am getting the stability only when the things are going fine. It is that stability in spite of the most difficult situation. That is the state we are going to get. And that state is called samatha vachala buddhi. And then you can see that you're a yogi, established in yoga. So I think those who read Swami Vivekananda, he used to make this point very clear. He said, anybody can perform anything when the situations are in your control. But those people, when the situation is completely against them, right? How can they face that situation? That shows your mental maturity and emotional maturity. That is what is being indicated here. Samatha vachala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. And Krishna, with this, concluded his discussion on chapter 2, right? So he gave an elaborate discussion on the 3 topics. Problem statement, what is the solution, which is the self-knowledge, and also doing what needs to be done. So this is the solution. And that part is explained through 3 different angles. One is the spiritual angle, second one is the dharmic angle, and the third one is the material angle. All that is given. And then he explained what is yoga, how you can achieve that. So that is what is given from 38 to 53. And in that, he explained what is karma yoga is and what is karma yoga, and also gave these popular 3 definitions of yoga. What is yoga? Samatvam means, please keep this in mind, 3 definition. Samatvam yoga uchyate, that is number 1. Second one is yogaha karmasu kaushalam, means skill in action. And that skill is twofold. One is discretion and the second one is efficiency. So these 2 has to come. One is discretion, means otherwise it is just, if it is just skill, as I was joking last week, even a pickpocket, means a person doing theft, That is also a hacker, an unethical hacker, not an ethical hacker, unethical hacker. All this is efficiency in action. That is not yoga. So it has to be aligned with dharma. That is why the discretion of action came in, and efficiency both together. And finally, the mind of a yogi will be firmly stable. In that stability, it is not that if you plot a graph, it will be stable always. It won't be going up and down and all these things. What about us? When something happens, we will be top of the world. And if something goes down, boom. And another interesting study, I think another psychologist did that. They tried to measure the happiness index of these people who are winning lottery. Anybody read that stories? It's very interesting. Do you know, by the way, do you know like those who wins lottery, after some 10 years, 15 years, if you go back, most of their state is
even more broke than
bankrupt.
when they started.
Yeah, a lot of people. And if you measure their happiness index, right? So let's say that their default happiness index was 2. When you get the lottery, what happens? It will be 35 off the chart.
Yeah.
And do you think that that 35 will be remaining always as 35? As days goes by, what is going to happen?
It plummets.
It will come back to that 2. That is what it is saying that. Think of that.
Yeah.
And even the other day, somebody was talking to me, and of course, I know that how critical it is. Somebody was saying, okay, if you had a green card, I would not have been happy asking anything to God. I was just looking at myself when he told me, right? It's the same story. Like when you are in need of that green card, if you think that, oh God, if I get this green card, I won't ask anything more. Once you have the green card, something else will come. There's nothing wrong in that, but you have to understand that. So this is going to help you to gain that stability. By the way, this stability is mandatory for anything. Now the question is, so Krishna defines yoga, and he said like one of the greatest benefit of this karma yoga and the yoga of knowledge, and eventually you will gain a dispassion. That is the word Krishna used, right? He said like you will be, the word dispassion has a negative meaning also. You may become indifferent. You don't care. You don't care about your success. You won't strive for a promotion. You won't do like try to succeed in life, means so-called definition, right? You don't, yeah, it doesn't matter whether I got A++ or like B+ or B-. It doesn't matter. You are not worried about anything. So this might have created a confusion in Arjuna, thinking that, oh, is he talking about a state which is completely passive, completely indifferent? That's a doubt can come to each one of us. So Arjuna is going to ask that question to Krishna. So Arjuna asking a question, and the theme of that question is, hey Krishna, you talked about a man of the stability, a man of self-realization, a person who has gained samadhi and know the self. So that is the ultimate Krishna was talking. Let's assume that somebody gain it. What is his attitude towards life? Is he going to run away from life? Actually, like when a small child comes and smile at him, is he going to be like a rock? And somebody passes, some dear and near passes in the family, is he going to be like a stone? Just say that Nainam Chindanti Shastrani. So that's a natural doubt that can happen to each one of us, right? That can comes to any one of our mind.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to ask this question.
Any logical person will have that question. So that is why brilliance of Vyasa, Arjuna is asking that question. So let's see that. But before that, we covered the third topic. So do you have that map, road map, or the major division of the topics in your mind? The second chapter is an index of the Gita, which touches almost every topic in the Gita. That is point number 1. There are, means, in fact, I will tell you like 1, 2, 3, 4 major topic in the second chapter. First topic is the problem statement. Of course, you need to know what problem you are solving, right? Otherwise, you cannot solve it. So that is the first verse 1 to 10 is the problem statement. in fact, a restatement of the problem, because the entire chapter 1 was a problem statement, and the second chapter, verse 1 to 10, is a restatement of the problem. And then from verse 11 to 37, it is a summary of the solution, meaning you are not supposed to get into that unhealthy mental state, and you have to gain the self-knowledge. This is the solution given by Krishna, and this is being explained as 3 different parts. The first part is 11 to 30 is the spiritual solution. Within that spiritual solution, what Krishna did was, any living being, any jiva has 3 dimensions, he said, right? There is a physical dimension, and there is a soul, and there is an atma. So you need to understand the difference between these 3, and also you need to understand who are you, in fact. Are you the body, or are you the soul, or are you the atma? So we saw that we are the atma with a possession of the soul and the body. And we saw that what is death, we saw what is transmigration, and we saw what is the law of karma. All those topics we discussed elaborately. That is why we took 20 lessons. So that is, majority of our discussion was on that topic. And if you remember, we had to do 1 or 2 supplementary lessons. We went through the entire karma theory. We went through the topic body, soul, and atma as separate like breakout sessions or supplementary topic. And then we came to the second argument, which is the dharmic argument. And finally, we came to the third argument, which is the laukikya, or the worldly point. And then we came to the third topic, which is the yoga, introduction to yoga, which is 38 to 53. So Karma Yoga is clearly explained. Karma Yoga is marketed initially. He said the Karma Yoga or the yoga is free from the typical problems of the other things, like Neha Kvip Kramana Shosti, Pratyavayo na vidyate, Solpam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhaya. Like, even if a little bit of practice of this yoga can save you from greatest fears. And then Krishna criticized even people who use scriptures and get lost in their spiritual path. And the word used was very powerful, extremely powerful word he used. Yamimam pushpitam vajam prapatanti vipaschitaha. Pushpitam vajam of the vipaschitaha. Flowery words of the unwise. That is considering Krishna's dignity, I don't think he can go anything down. So that was a very strong usage. And then he said, like, people who are just waiting for heaven, that is not a ideal thing. So that thing we saw. And then we saw the Karma Yoga, means the role of scripture. He said it is only a roadmap. Once you reach the destination, the scripture has no role. We saw the Vedic statement, Vedo Avedo Bhavati. And also we saw, right, Yavan Artha Utapane Sarvada Samplutotake Tavan Sarveshu Vedeshu Brahmanascha Vichanataha. That we saw. Those was beautiful. And then we saw what is Karma Yoga. Karmani Evaha Athikara Hatve Ma Phaleshu Kadajana Ma Karma Phalahe Durbohu Ma Desan Kosta Karmani. That the control you have is only on the work, not on the results. So therefore, don't consider yourself as the author of the the results. Focus where you have control, which is on the action. This is probably one of the best statement of the Bhagavad Gita. Means this is most important statement. And then 48, we saw that Yogastaha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tetwa Dhananjaya Sithya Sithyu Samoputta Samitvam Yoga Uchati. So yoga is the samatvam, and then we saw yoga is the dexterity in action or skill in action. The skill in action means discretion and like efficiency. And finally, we saw that yoga is samadhi. This is a summary, 5-minute summary of the topics we covered so far. Is it clear? At least you know the flow, right? Okay.
Rajesh, just an observation,
Sure.
something. I mean, when we were talking about this, like you explained about the materialistic, spirituality or something. Basically, I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong. So when we talk about Karma Yoga, we talk about mainly people who are actually, in the samsara, right? And then we wanted to do that, get that spirituality too. So getting that freedom, like the wealth or abundance, whatever we call it, like, either monetarily or anything, it is important stop for us, because to attain that actual spirituality, we need to have that thing, right?
True.
Set aside. You have to have that. It is like, so will it be right to, because all the other people, with all due respect, Vivekananda or Ramakrishna Paramahansa, they were not part of, they were like not in samsara. Like when they talk about, we don't have to work about, think about, not much about materialistic spirituality. They were actually in the path of sannyasa. But for the other people, this is one of the important stop. So will it be right to assume that, like, so it is like, that is not an end goal, of course, but then this also has to, that freedom also has to happen,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. So the difference is, I think, I think either I might have misspoken or you didn't hear me properly. We didn't say that the material goal is not important. We need
No,
to
I'm just clarifying. So it is like a stop, like,
right.
It is like
So
not the end
and
goal.
even Vivekananda, he never said that, right? For the first statement he said was, before you study Gita, go and learn football, because you have to have a strong body, strong mind, and a material success. So even though he was wearing orange robe, he never undermined. Neither Krishna nor Vivekananda, any one of them never said that material progress is not required. So the question is, if you're so much obsessed with this result, what is going to happen?
Right.
The way you, means how can you achieve material success? Only by performing well in the world outside, correct? How can you gain the promotions? Let's say that you're trying for a promotion. For that, you have to work efficiently. You have to show your value. But if you are so much obsessed with the particular result, what is going to happen? It will prevent your ability to perform well. And if you cannot perform well, what is going to happen? The promotions will not come. So that is why Krishna highlighted, like, you will gain more materialistic result when you work like this, because that is why the definition of yoga, he cleverly included efficiency in action. The karma yoga will be 10 times more efficient than the materialistic action. So that is what this beauty of this. And that is the beauty of the Gita. Gita is never asking us to run away from the material life. You cannot, right? It is impossible. Who is going to pay the mortgage? Who is going to send your kids to school? All that is important. And if you don't do that, you're violating the rule. And actually, I think the third lecture of Vivekananda, he highlights this very much. You cannot say that I'm not going to take care of my child because I'm a spiritual person. You're the worst spiritual person. That is the language he has used. So good that you clarified it. And that is exactly what Arjuna is also asking. Like, are you running away from the world? Are you saying that your material goals are not important? So that's very important.
Thanks, Rajesh.
Okay, great. So let's go to the Arjuna's question on verse 54, and then we will see the answers in the next sessions. So Anu, could you please chant?
Arjuna uvacha sthitaprajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sthitadhih kim prabhasheta kimasita prajeta kim.
Wow, very interesting question. Exactly the same question I was highlighting earlier. So Arjuna uvacha, Arjuna said what? So far he was listening to Krishna. So you have to observe one characteristics of Gita. So if you really look at other scriptures, when I say outside of our tradition, most of the time you have no right to ask any question. If the master speak, you have to listen. But Gita or any of our scriptures, Vedic scriptures, you have 100% freedom, even to say that the teacher is wrong. Because Arjuna is using that word in the third chapter. Vyamishreneva vakyena muthim mohayasivame. You confused me terribly. That is the language. So you can ask any question. So here Arjuna had a doubt, just like all of us. He said, "Oh Keshava, oh Krishna." We already saw who is Keshava, right? And then Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha. So what? Ka means what? Bhasha means description. What is the characteristics of a person whose wisdom, Sthita prajna, is whose mind is stable, who has attained that samadhi? Samadhi is tasya Keshava. So a person who has established in samadhi, whose knowledge is firm on that, what is his characteristics? Is he completely different to the world? Is he not, to as Rathika said, like, is he just ignoring his material goal? Is he emotionless? Is he like a rope? What is he talking? That is the interesting thing. Like, Kim he tell Kim Sthiti, what exactly what is the state of that person, mental state of that person. What he speak, prabhasheta, what exact means, is he going to be talking only in a particular language, right? Somebody becomes spiritual, you see, like in movies and all, how do you say? You spoke in a very monotonous tone without any pitch variation or anything like that. Is he going to be like that? Meaning his personality going to be completely redefined. That is what it is. Is he going to be indifferent to the family? Is he going to be, does he not go to a restaurant? Is he stop watching movies? Forget about the Sthita Prajna. See, since we are doing, since we do Gita classes, the other day when I was telling somebody that I watch movies, this person got completely shocked. So I told that person that I watch 2 movies every week and I watch every genres of the movie. So this person was completely shocked. This is the definition of people when you're pursuing the spiritual path. So this is not correct. So Arjuna was asking, we are not even Sthita Prajna, we are only struggling people. Even to such people attributes this quality. So Arjuna's question was, is his personality will be completely redefined? Is he going to become completely indifferent to the world outside? And he tells like prabhasheta, how he's going to speak. How is he going to sit? Is he going to be sitting full time in meditation, or is he going to take rest? I read Swami Chinmayananda's biography, like he was sleeping and some people thought, oh my God, he needs this much sleep. People are like that. And then how he walk in the world, because is he going to walk in the sense, how is he going to pursue any material goal? Tomorrow onwards, he is not going to work. Is he going to stop doing businesses? Is he going to do anything, right? So this is the question. Is this going to make him completely indifferent to the life? This is Arjuna's ask. So tell me the characteristics so that I can be sure that I'm not leaving my material position, because that is very important, and I'm not going to be completely indifferent to the world. So he has 3 questions here. In fact, four questions. One is, describe to me the Sthita Prajna who is merged in Samadhi. Tell me the characteristics. How is he going to speak, like when he is talking? How is he going to sit? Is he by himself? Is he going to be completely isolating from the world? Is he going to run away to Himalayas? Then how does he walk? How is he going to interact with outside? Is he not going to talk about the movies, or is he going to talk about only a spiritual thing and completely running away from the world? Is this the question all of us have? This is what is being asked by Arjuna. So we are going to see this. The next topic is the last 18 verses of the 2nd chapter. And this is known as Sthita Prajna Lakshana, the characteristics of a man of realization or a man of steady wisdom. And let's try to see what exactly he is and what is his characteristics. Is he running away from the world or not? And this is the spiritual poetry at its best. And Mahatma Gandhi means, I don't have to explain who is Mahatma Gandhi, because such a genius or such a great person, he used to say that there is nothing in the world which can be even compared to this, because this was his most favorite topic of the Bhagavad Gita. And he said, like, there's nothing in the spiritual literature which can be even compared, forget about competing, when compared to this last 18 verses. We have to see these step by step. So we'll see that from the next sessions. So let me make a pause. Any questions?
Yeah, Rajesh, 2 questions.
Sure.
Can you repeat the 6 impurities of the mind?
Kama, Krodha, Moha, Lobha, Mada, and Matsarya. This is called as Shad Vairis, or the 6 impurities. Again, this is a model. That doesn't mean that impurities are limited to that much, but this is for the ancient world view, because right now we know that there are 128 plus emotions. One of the book we have in our library is called Emotional Intelligence More Than IQ. If you go to the appendix of that book, we get a detailed list of all the emotions. And any such emotions out of proportion is an impurity.
And can you repeat the 5 states of human mind according to?
Okay, they are Chipta, which is called a destructive state, Vikshipta, which is called a distracted state, Mudha, which is called a deluded state, Ekagra, which is called a focused state, and finally Nirodha, which is a controlled state. These are the 5 Chitta Bhumis. This is a model created by Patanjali, Maharshi Patanjali in his Yoga Sutra.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Rohit ji.
Rajesh, can we, how do we say what is spiritualism, like in a brief, like if I want to tell to my son or to a friend, how do we define, or even to myself to get a clarity? I understand we need the purity of mind and stability of mind.
Correct. These are the two requirements to pursue any higher goals of life. Forget about the spiritual goals. So if you want to pursue any goals, if you wanted to be efficient, if you wanted to face, because otherwise what happens, things goes good, you are fine. So these are 2 prerequisites for anybody to pursue any goal: a stable mind and a pure mind. With this, you can face any challenges in the world outside. This is the Krishna's definition. Remember the example I gave you the other day, a Chinese example. Somebody was riding a horse, and means people asked, "Where are you going?" They said, "I don't know the where." Means ask the horse. Who want to be in control? You want to be in control, or your emotions wants to be in control? Again, for the modern generation, I would suggest read the book, this Emotional Intelligence More Than IQ. It is a fantastic book by Daniel Goleman. And those who are interested in knowing more about that, there is a second book by Goleman himself. It is called Brain and Emotional Intelligence, which is going to give you the neurological discussion of this topic. Beautiful. So, couple of questions. One is, of course, we are means we can continue this next week, or do you want to take 2-3 weeks off and cover the offline topics in the next 1 or 2 weeks, or you want to continue with this, because this is a at least we completed a portion. If you want, we can like 1 or 2 offline topics came up. We can discuss that in the next 1 or 2 weeks, and we can take a couple of weeks break and restart the Sthita Prajna Lakshana in September. I have no program, so if everybody wants to continue the Sthita Prajna Lakshana from next week, we can do that also. So just wanted to check.
I would prefer we continue.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, so we'll continue. We'll continue with, because the flow will continue.
Rajesh, what are the off topics that we were?
No, I was, because a couple of off topics were given to me by some people. We can do that also, means in a different timeline. Like one was, I think, mantras. What is mantra? That was one topic, and a couple of other topics were also given, right? So Puranas. What is Puranas, and what is the significance of Puranas in the modern world? So these are all off topic, but I think I would agree. Let's continue, because the flow will not go. Because right now you know what exactly is Karma Yoga. If you take a 4 weeks break, that flow may go.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so I would stop here and hand over to Anu. She will continue to teach us that 3 verses, which we covered last week, because please try to remember this. And then from next week, we will go to, question is, do you want to start next week? Do you want to start learning these verses we cover in the chapter, or do you want to go back to chapter 1 and learn the 30 minutes? It is up to you.
Can we start from the beginning to Rajesh? Just an opinion.
Yeah, no, that's what Anu suggested too. So I was just asking. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll start with chapter 1.
Rajesh, one question there.
Yeah.
Is it possible to, I mean, like, I don't know, Anuji, how long you are planning to do that? Like, is it going to be 30 minutes, an hour? If it is an hour, is it possible to pick some other time? I mean, just a thought.
I thought the idea was 30 minutes. And
Okay.
I think this time slot was suggested by people because we were open. And then the thought was when we complete the class. Again, I mean, it's up to Anu. She can do in whatever time she wants. It is because Earlier, our thought was we are going to continue the same verses we covered in the class. So that's why we thought immediately after that. So it is Anu and you all can decide when is the I will, yeah.
Okay, probably we can chat on WhatsApp group and then decide
Yeah.
like what will
Yeah,
be
yeah.
convenient time.
So 30 minutes is the time, and Anu will lead it.
Okay.
Okay. So Anu, I may drop, but the Zoom session will be active because I may have to join another meeting. But Rajesh ji is there, and we can continue. I will talk to you offline. Means I will be 3 verses will be covering, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, please start. I'll stay for 5-10 minutes and then I will. Perfect.
Should I share the script?
Yeah, you can share the script.
I'm sharing the Sanskrit version. Not sure how many audience would follow the Devanagari script.
Do you have the Roman script by any chance?
What is that?
Roman English script?
English is also there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, probably you can share that. That would be the least common denominator. And we will give everybody the script by next week so that everybody has their own script in your fingerprints.
We are going over 47, 48, and 50 verses.
Yeah, it means those are the important verses. So we'll cover that this week, and next week onwards we'll start chapter 1 verse 1.
Okay. Karmanyevadhikaraste.
You all can chant. Means you don't need to unmute, but you can chant offline. That way it will be clear. And then as we did last week, if any volunteers want to chant, then only Anu can correct it, right?
Oh, okay, I'll repeat each pada, each verse one time, and then you can repeat after that.
Yeah.
So twice we shall do that repetition of the verse, and then yeah, same pattern as the last time. Like we'll join the 2 verses and then the full shloka.
Yeah.
Okay. Karmanyevadhikaraste.
Karmanyevadhikaraste.
Karmanyevadhikaraste. I can't hear anyone.
Yeah, I think one or two people you can unmute, because otherwise without feedback Anu may not be able to. It's a different. I totally get that feeling.
I have unmuted, and so
Yeah,
has Sanjay ji.
Yeah.
We are not sure whether it will create confusion or is it okay.
No. It's fine. You can do that. Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe everybody can take a turn. That's also fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whoever want to volunteer, you can chant, right? This verse now. Or I don't know whether you covered only one.
One, yeah.
Yeah.
Karmanyevadhikaraste.
Karmanyevadhikaraste.
Ma phaleshu kadachana.
Ma phaleshu kadachana.
Karmanyevadhikaraste. Ma phaleshu kadachana.
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
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 It is ph is not fa, it is pa.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very important. It is not fa, it is
Fa.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
No, that's why when we chant, it will be corrected. That's really good. Thank you.
Sure. I'm following the Sanskrit version of it. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the screen.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Like even the Sanskrit, there is a difference, right? So you have pa, pa, ba, pa, ma, right? So that is why there is a funny, like there is a phalam. There is a difference. So
sure.
Okay. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
Okay. Second verse, anybody else wants to try? Or Sanjay ji or anybody? Yogastha kuru karmani.
योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि
Yogastha kuru karmani.
योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि
Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya.
संगम त्यक्त्वा धनंजय
Sangam त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय
Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya
सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा
siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva
सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा
siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva
समत्वं योग उच्यते
samatvam yoga uchyate
समत्वं योग उच्यते
samatvam yoga uchyate
योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय
yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya
योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय
yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya
सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते
siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate
सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते
siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate
योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते
yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate
योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते
yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate
This one, the third pada, siddhya siddhyos, it is a mahaprana, it is a lot of air should be coming out
okay
with more emphasis. It is like siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva
siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva
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 better. Okay.
siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samat
samatvam yoga uchyate
samatvam yoga uchyate
योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते
yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate.
Okay, the first pada also the yogastha kuru karmani, so that if it is in English you're seeing, or if it is a na, like Krishna,
Okay.
na, that your tongue should be curling up and touching the middle of the palate,
Okay.
top of the palate. So it is yogastha kuru karmani.
Yogastha kuru karmani.
Yeah, better. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. We'll go to the 50th one.
Sure.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha.
Sorry, Anuji, somebody else was trying, so I'm just like, if somebody else wants to try.
Anybody else wants to try?
It's okay. Go ahead, please. No, I was.
No, that's
That's
fine.
okay.
That's fine. Who is that?
Hi, this is Radhika. Anu.
Yeah, please, Radhika, go ahead. Yeah, I'll repeat it again. Buddhiyukto jahatiha.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha.
Ubhe sukrita dushkrite.
Ubhe shukrita dushkrite.
Ubhe sukrita dushkrite.
Ubhe sukrita dushkrite.
Tasmad yogaya yujyasva.
Tasmat yogaya yujyasva.
Tasmad yogaya yujyasva.
Tasmat yogaya yujyasva.
Yoga karmasu kaushalam.
Yoga karmashu kaushalam.
Yoga karmasu kaushalam.
Yoga karmasu kaushalam.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha. Ubhe sukrita dushkrite.
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 It is not buddhi. B should be lighter. DDH should be more emphasis, like this one, this line, the second part, first pada, 50th. If you see,
Okay.
if you're seeing the English one here, it is DDH. There is a Mahaprana here, DH, Buddhi. So, but BU should be a lighter one. Lot of air should not be coming out when you're uttering this syllable.
Okay.
Okay. Buddhiyukto jahatiha. Ubhe sukrita dushkrite.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha. Ubhe sukrita dushkrite.
Good. Tasmad yogaya yujyasva.
Tasmat yogaya yujyasva.
Yoga karmasu kaushalam.
Yoga karmasu kaushalam.
Okay, I'll repeat it. I didn't go in that pattern. Okay. Buddhiyukto jahatiha. Ubhe sukrita dushkrite.
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 Tasmad yogaya yujyasva yogah karmasu kaushalam.
Tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam.
Tasmad yogaya yujyasva yogah karmasu kaushalam.
Tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujyasva yogah karmasu kaushalam.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujyasva yogah karmasu kaushalam.
Buddhiyukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushalam.
So, any questions you have on any letters or anything, any pada or any questions on any shloka?
I think
Yeah.
for me,
Actually, there was a message. Yes, the shloka is on the screen, right? Uttiyukto jahadita. That's the last one, the 50th one. It's there. It's there in the screen. It was there. Okay. So
I have a question on the first one, the last line, the 47. The karmani is like, it's a sudden ending. It's not karmani, right? Mate sangustva karmani. It's a short.
Yeah, it's a short one.
Thank you.
Anybody else? So, for the script and all, I would like to know who are all interested in learning. So depending on what language, what is your mother tongue, if I get to know, then I can get the books and keep at my home, and maybe you all can come and collect. So that way you'll have a book in your hand to follow.
I would be very much keen to go for Devanagari. So because then it will be easier for me. I am from Hindi background and learned Sanskrit a bit.
Sure.
right.
So maybe we'll if you can let me know who are following
You can
the
put that in the WhatsApp group, right? Right.
Yeah,
So that way we can take a count. So which is your preferred language?
Then I can
Rajesh, just to confirm, you said the Tamil will be available too, right?
No,
Or
we can,
is it
yeah,
something?
Punaji has
Oh,
that. So what I would check is whether the same script Anu is following. Otherwise, we can get an alternate. So,
okay, thank you.
yeah, if you want Malayalam, I can give you. Definitely Malayalam is.
I cannot
Read Malayalam? Okay.
actually, I'm from Tamil Nadu, so
Oh, okay. That's fine. Yep. We'll get to Tamil. Yep.
Sure.
yeah. Okay. So shall I chant all these 3 shlokas one more time?
Yeah, please, Anu. I think you can contemplate upon the meaning. This is very, as I said, like it can take you to a different dimension. This can be a meditation, right? So karmani evaha atikaraha tve, like your choice or the control is only on the karma action, not ma kalphaleshu kadajana, like there is not on the result. Ma karma phala hedurubhuhu, you are not the cause or the author of the karma phala. Mate sangusto karmani. But since you have control over the action, don't be attached to inaction. So think, contemplate upon that. This is very important, right? So that is just contemplate upon the meaning, it will take you to a different dimension when you chant, if you can contemplate upon the meaning. Sorry, Anu, just a addition because
that was very good actually. It's nice. Thank you. Yeah. So, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्माद् योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्. For now, the audios are also available on the links that I have shared. So you can go to that particular chapter and select your comfortable script and go give the shloka number and then you can play it so it would repeat for you. There is a tutorial mode and a non-tutorial mode. So tutorial mode has a repetition version. So it has a repetitive mode. A chanting mode has it only says the full shloka once, but you can play it again and again.
I listened to that. I know it's fantastic. Like it gives an opportunity to chant. Different learning mode is very good for learning chant.
That's very true, Rajesh. I heard like a couple of times chapter 2.
Yeah.
Very, very crisp and clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I know. Thank you. This is very helpful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, we'll meet again next time.
Yeah.
So
next week we'll start chapter 1, verse 1. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre, right?
Yeah, from chapter 1. Yeah. So in the meantime, I'll text you about the books.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sure.
Work on that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Anu. Thanks, Rajesh.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.